Welcome to my video today. I'm going to be rebuilding a 1976 Smoker Craft Lancer Edition. Super cool boat. Let's check it out. Okay, so here's how it looks now. This has been redone once before from the original. Thought it would be a good idea to make it a little more spacious. Now we're getting ready to do the disassemble. Before, this boat had no carpet, so you'd get burned if it was a hot day. And I changed things out. You can see the electrical's really old, and I thought it was time to make a change with that as well. I kind of built the front there. This boat originally came with a 9.9, and then I put a 25 horse on it. It was a very cute boat, just not very practical. I cut the gunnels down here. You can see the back there a little wider. And I had to deal with all the rivets and the paint and the big giant dent that the guy before me accidentally put when he was on the river. Apparently he smashed a big rock. You can see I'm doing all this sanding, and then that's the finished product. I'm going to suggest to make sure you use a 2-part boat epoxy paint. If you're going to do this yourself, absolutely good idea. And I put the keel on there. This really needed it because sometimes I am in the river, and that's just a good idea. So here we go. Everything's stripped out, and there's the old foam. I took out the front. Took everything out in the back. It was just totally disgusting. So, since I didn't know what I was doing, I knew I had to get this foam out because I didn't know what to expect. So as I start seeing that there's water underneath, and all this foam was saturated. So I was probably carrying, I don't know, 100 pounds, maybe more over the years. So once I cut this out, I could actually see those little openings in between there. And I said to myself, well, let me get them opened up and then create a little drain area. Now, I did replace and repair a lot of the rivets that were bad. Now, that's kind of where I wanted the trolling motor battery to go. And that's kind of the look that I wanted to frame it out so I could actually put a flooring. This boat was so small, you literally couldn't get around. Tried to have my grandkids in it. It was just too small. It was, frankly, a little annoying. Love them, but they just didn't know how to keep their place. So there we are. I'm trying to build a frame, making sure it's level, make sure I have one area that I can have for the battery, and then another area I can just keep as storage. That drain tube right there, just basic PVC. I punctured holes in it, and then of course you can see the little garden hose from the bow to the stern and all the way down, which is great because anytime water would come in the boat, it immediately flushed right out the back. So of course the pour foam, that was very interesting. Make sure you get enough if you're going to do this, because once you pour it on in and it expands, then you're going to have to cut it, a lot of it, out so you can put the flooring in. And when they say 20 seconds, man, you got to be ready for that. And now I had to cut it all out. They say you have to paint it. So I painted it. And now we start with putting the carpet prep in. Yeah, foam flooring, got a frame, got to put the carpet in. I had to make sure it's going in the right direction. So I marked all that to make sure what I was going to do. And of course, since I've never done this before, a lot of things I learned that I would change. But all in all, it just was really going quite well for my first time. It took me about a year to do this build. So there's the cardboard template. I did buy 2 pieces of 4x8 aluminum. So I wanted to try to figure out how to do that. Now, before I did that, of course, I made sure I did the painting. I put 4 coats of spray paint exterior on this. This way it was a little easy for me to keep up maintenance if it gets scratched. This is really hard. You really need a very good cutter to do this. Jigsaws don't work. And there I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put the seats in, and you know, that type of thing. I also had to build this console. I just manufactured it. I'm like, right, what am I going to do here? So, and of course I draw all this out, and I use the cardboard for the template, and kind of just came up with my own idea from looking at things. Now I did that because I also had to put this piece of aluminum on top, and I wanted to make a couple hatches. This way I knew that I was lined up properly. I wanted to try to keep it as solid as possible so the water would hit the sides and not necessarily go down the front. If I were to do the hatches again, I would buy pre-made hatches, and I wouldn't do what I did here. A couple things I didn't think about, maybe having a seat in the front. I did eventually do that. I wasn't sure. And I've only used one seat. I don't know why I designed this way because of the framing, actually. And I used two different color carpets. This boat was originally like tan, like cream and red. So I kind of kept that old school look about it. Now I'm getting ready to put the steering wheel on and put the switches on. I kind of custom made the switches. A little tack there, just so I could get an idea of how quick I was going. Boat goes about maybe 30, which is pretty impressive actually. A lot of great YouTube videos how to do this. This certainly looks very overwhelming. And I didn't use those old horns. That's kind of the look I was looking for. I did this whole electrical drawing like 20 times. I found it very, very difficult for me, but at the end, everything worked great. Very easy to read. It marked everything. I knew where everything had to be. So I was kind of learning as I go and looking at other people, what they were doing. I'm still doing some finished work today. I wanted to put some rope around the inside seams. Now this was interesting. This boat had areas where we can put like fishing rod holders and that type of thing. And it also had supports when I originally got it. So I figured I'd put these in those supports on the side. So I had to make all these by hand, very hard. So I used balsa wood first, as you can see. Then I used oak and 2x4. And then of course I mounted them in there. Now, of course, getting into that boat, that can be a little dangerous, so I wanted to put this little non-slip area. That way you can just kind of hop on from the dock. Put the smoker craft. Of course, I dress it up with the mirror, and of course we're doing putting those holes in so I can mount the seats. And the decal, I was actually going to put a boat wrap on it, and I changed my mind. So I just made up the letters right there. I was like, what am I going to do in this space? There you go. So I put that rope on the outside. Well, I hope you enjoy this little project, and here she is. Totally looks different, right? I had that Bimini from before. If you have any questions, you can always give me a shout, 267-994-5390. Glad to help you with any questions you may have. If you are thinking about getting your old boat and just making it new. I know when I take it out on the lake, everybody looks at me like, it looks like a new old boat. That's exactly what it is. It's completely rebuilt from the ground up. 100%. It was an amazing amount of work, but I just took it in baby steps. Yeah, super cool. Really fun. I'm so glad you enjoyed the little video. And here, of course, is me sitting out on the lake. It was great. Again, hope you have a great day.